Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review of The Walking Dead for Season 6, Episode 8. I don't really know why I looked this up because I knew it was the mid-season finale and I completely forgot. So that was just dumb on my part. But this episode is called Start to Finish. Now, you should know that by reading the title down in the bottom of the video below. But I guess I just say it now because of habit. Um, but yeah, if you're wondering why I haven't done this, because I watched this episode like, was it last week? Might have been 2 weeks ago now. I have no idea. Might have been last week. I don't know if it was today, but it was like last week at some point, and I just never got around to reviewing it. Now there's two reasons why that's happened. Is obviously because I've been busy with schoolwork and other things, so obviously that takes the time. I just will say that don't expect to see these reviews come up consistently, considering the fact that um, I'm busy with that type of stuff, so they're going to come out when I get the chance to do them. Also, the second reason is I procrastinated on it because this episode sucked. So I didn't really want to talk about it. I actually remember last week I found out some good news and I was in a positive mood, so I didn't really want to do a video ranting. So I just didn't do the video that day because I'm like, yeah, that episode sucked, but I'm in too much of a good mood to really get pissed about this right now. Um, and I was in too good of a mood to really get pissed about it. So I obviously procrastinated, but I want to just get this video up now before it gets to the point where I have procrastinated so much that I have to sit down and watch this episode again, because that's something that's not going to happen, as I ain't watching this episode again. So I know I'm going to have to at some point, because I plan on doing like a series overview of it, well, of each season, so I don't want to have to watch it until then. But yeah, basically, that's why, is because I procrastinated because this episode sucks, and I just don't really want to talk about it, but I have to talk about it at some point, so it's better now or wait until I have to watch it again. So basically, I'm not going to put forth a lot of effort into this review because The Walking Dead didn't put a lot of effort into making this episode, so they're going to get the same effort into this review. I'm not going to break it down with like chronological thin. I made my ups and downs list about what I liked about it, what I didn't like, and what I just thought was thumbs in the middle, and that's how I'm going to structure it. So, yeah, not a lot of review. Let's say when this episode came out. Um, this episode came out on November 29th, 2015. I think it was like right around after Thanksgiving, but I'm not looking it up. So, yeah. Um, I hope this video, by the way, audio is working because then I have to do it again, but we're going to find out when we get there. So, let's just say how this episode kicked off. It kicked off with something before the theme song, but I'm not going to talk about that because when I go through the ups and downs, I'll talk about it then. Um, Basically, after that big tower fell down on Alexandria, the half herd of walkers that Rick had led to the town broke in, and everybody in the town's trying to either escape or Rick's group's trying to fight them off, and Deanna is trying to help Rick fight them off, but then she trips, and Rick pulls her to safety, and everybody kind of goes their own separate ways. And then so that was kind of like basically how the episode started off. And basically, it was the exact same episode as when they were on Herschel's farm. Well, but a ton of zombies came out, and they all had to kill him there. This was basically the exact same thing, except it was in a city versus a farm. So they basically kind of just ripped that off, except this one was done worse just because it was, well, because it just didn't have like the same meeting and stuff, and yeah, that I just thought that one was done better. So, um, yeah, that was basically, and that was like the last episode of season 2, I think. So it was done better because they had, that was like when Walking Dead still kind of knew what they were doing when they were writing the shows a little bit. Um, but yeah, so then it doesn't cut to the theme song, but that was basically to happen. So now let me talk about the ups and the downs, because there's only one up out of this whole episode. I can only think of one thing that I really liked out of this whole episode. Everything else is a down, and there's one thing I thought was thumbs in the middle. So I'm just going to talk about the up first. So basically what happens is Deanna gets scratched by a zombie. I mean, obviously we know what that means. I kind of like the way she reacted towards it. So basically, she's starting to lose it. She's starting to slowly turn into a zombie. It happens very slow, by the way. I know I've talked about this before, but it happens really slow. I guess that's what kills you the most. So basically, she has a conversation with Michonne, talking about how she built this town because she wanted people to have like a safe community and to be able to kind of live their normal lives. And she asked Michonne kind of what she wants, and Michonne says she's never really thought about what she wanted. So she kind of gives this whole speech about how Michonne, once she finds what they wants, then that gives you purpose worth living. I thought this was a very good speech, and then eventually Rick is downstairs. I'll get into what he was doing downstairs, because I'm not talking about that right now. And when he goes upstairs, Diana's going to was supposed to think has turned into a zombie and about to go after Judith. I thought that was a great scene. And Rick acts like he's going to kill her, but then obviously when he sees that she hasn't turned, he doesn't. And he just said she wanted to hold her one last time, but obviously because she's so weak, she can barely stand. And they kind of go back to that question that Deanna asked about why Rick saved Spencer when he went to go over the wall and kill the zombies. And he said that because Spencer's part of Rick's group. And that's why Deanna always protected Rick, always protected the town, because they're part of their own. So she makes Rick promise after she passes that he will always protect Spencer, which I obviously expect to be a plot device for the next, from the the mid-season premiere of season 9, which I actually kind of like that they kind of set that in motion. And yeah, I thought that was great. And then Michonne comes in, and they have to leave because a bunch of zombies basically broke in, and they pretty much have to leave or else they'll die. And yeah, basically Deanna tells Michonne to find her purpose in life and what she wants, because then it's going to make you feel like that you've even lived even more. And I thought the altercation that Michonne and Deanna had throughout this episode was very good. And Deanna has her give her a gun, and Deanna, isn't ready to kill herself until she feels like she's ready. And right when Michonne leaves, right when she's about to do it, a bunch of zombies break in, and she starts killing them, and then you just see her scream, and you don't hear anything happen. I thought this was a massive up throughout the whole episode. This was basically the best part and the only good thing in this thing that was truly good in this episode. And then obviously it was basically downhill from here, and nothing really topped it. So I thought they killed off Deanna in a great way. I think basically we saw the last of her, and it was done very well. So I have to give them props. Was this great? No, but it was good. So yeah, I thought that was a good part of the episode. And obviously Deanna's going to be missed. Obviously, I think Deanna is going to be like that kind of the Herschel of the group, where she gave the group faith. But obviously, I think she's a lesser version of Herschel and even Eastman. But yeah, obviously, it does kind of suck, because she just started to kind of be in a positive mood again, and now they just kind of killed her off. So, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. I probably would rash on that, but the fact that this made the episode, I'm not really going to rash on that too much. And then obviously, I'm going to talk about the thing I thought was like thumbs in the middle, just because this was something that wasn't necessarily good, wasn't necessarily bad, but just because I'm going to go off on a tangent with the downs, I want to kind of talk about the thumbs in the middle segment. So there's a scene in this episode where Morgan and Carol running away from the walkers, and Carol trips and falls and hits her head, and Morgan helps her up. Now, obviously, I kind of like this scene a little bit because you could kind of see that Morgan and Carol really didn't get along, because when they go to find shelter, Morgan wants to save Carol, but Carol won't let her because she doesn't trust him. And Carol wants to talk about how she wants to kill the guy with a W on his forehead. But obviously, Morgan doesn't want to talk about that. She said, it can wait. You can solve this later. And as obviously they're talking about this, Denise and the guy with the W on his forehead are down there. And I thought they had a pretty good dynamic with each other, because Denise is always someone that's been living in fear ever since, she's been a doctor in the town. And obviously, the Wolf guy just thinks he should just kill everybody anyways. So I thought their dynamic really fit with each other. It wasn't anything fantastic, but it was fine. And then obviously Denise stitches him up, and the guy with the W on his forehead says that he wants to be let go, but Denise refuses to let him go until he refuses to stop killing. But the guy with the W on his forehead said, "Well, what's the point? Everyone's just going to kill each other off anyways." So, yeah. Then eventually, Carol pretends that she has a concussion and that she's gonna go to sleep. And then obviously, Morgan, when he turns his back, Carol rushes off, which I thought was a pretty good part of the episode because I didn't see it coming. And she goes to try to attempt to murder the guy with the W on his forehead, but Morgan doesn't want to, because obviously he has that belief with Kino where he shouldn't kill anybody. So Carol basically threatens him, says that if you don't move, I'll kill you. So Morgan struggles with the decision, and then obviously Morgan defends the guy, and then he completely knocks out Carol, kind of drops her right on her head, and then the guy with the W on his forehead clocks Morgan from behind and knocks him out, and Denise, and obviously he cuts himself free, and then he takes Denise after Rosita, Eugene, and Taylor come out and threatens to kill her if they don't release their guns and everything. And then he goes out there with all the zombies with Denise. And yeah, that was a nice scene. I think what made this kind of bad was the execution of what happened. I either think what should have happened was Morgan should have killed the guy, and then he kind of really starts to struggle with whether or not he wants to kill, or this guy with a W on his forehead really should have been killed off in this episode. It really should have happened. They really shouldn't. If this had happened in just a different episode, this really wouldn't have been all that bad. But the fact that this happened in the mid-season finale makes it a thumbs in the middle, because they should have had a different outcome than what they had. So that's just my thought there. Now let's get to the downs. So obviously the best part of what you guys want to hear about, obviously Glenn's usage in this episode. So this is why I say it was a mistake to bring back Glenn the last episode, because that's basically something that was lost in this episode. That could have been the big, huge thing that came out of this episode, because now he was a non-factor in this episode. He basically was just seen with Enid, and basically revealed that his wife was pregnant. He wants to go save the town, and then he didn't agree to do so, and then you didn't see anything more with Glenn. He was just non-factor in this episode, and he was completely gone. That was pretty dumb. That was dumb for them to bring back Glenn the last episode. That's something that should have waited to the mid-season finale. They really should have saved it for this episode, and this is exactly why. So, yeah. All right, I'm gonna save the next bullet point for what I have. I know it's technically the next thing, but I want to talk about the quick thing that was also not things that were also not in this episode. Absolutely no signs of Dale, Sasha, or Abraham. That was pretty stupid. The fact that Dale, Sasha, and Abraham, I don't really care about the fact that Sasha and Abraham really haven't been a factor in this season, but the fact that they really haven't shown Dale at all in this season is pretty stupid. He's one of the most likable characters in the series, and he's not even a factor at all. That's dumb. The fact that he wasn't in the mid-season finale was stupid, Basically, the only thing you heard about from him was him pitching in the walkie-talkie to Eugene after everything that happened in the events of episode 6. So that was dumb. That was dumb that you didn't have Dale, you didn't have um, Sasha or Abraham in this episode. It was dumb that there was no real conclusion of what happened to Dale in episode 6. That was absolutely stupid. And then obviously the other thing that was stupid was the Eugene, Taylor, and Rosita scene when they were talking about how they were worried about Abraham. And then obviously they had Eugene like pick the lock on the door. That was just a filler scene that wasn't necessary. I think the point of this scene was to kind of show that Eugene didn't really need to know how to use a weapon and stuff, but it does nothing. So let's talk about like now the major downs in this episode. The fact that they spent most of this episode focusing on the Sam storyline where he talks about now how everybody's monsters, because it's been so non-a-factor in this season that they spent so much time focusing on that it was stupid. After everything they had built to, they spent the most time focusing on the Sam storyline. What in the hell was that? That was ridiculous. So basically they show what he's been doing basically in his room the whole season, or the whole 2 seasons, I guess. How he's going crazy. He just listens to records and doesn't want to listen to anything. And then finally, when he goes upstairs, well, when Rick and stuff come upstairs with Deanna, he's so horrified about it. And then, yeah, his mom, Jessie, which I've been messing up her name the whole season, but I don't really care, tells him to put on like his brave face, and he always pretends to, which just really wasn't all that good. And this storyline just sucks, so I don't know why they spent the most time focusing on this, even if it really wasn't built to this anyway. So that was just a down. And then obviously another down in this series. I originally have given this a thumbs in the middle, but then I thought about it. It was done very poorly. It really wasn't all what it should have, what it had been. It really was disappointing. Was everything that happened with Ron and Carl. I said this in the last episode that Ron's character absolutely sucks, and that's the truth. And I think after watching this episode, it's definitely the actor that can't pull off his character. I feel like this character probably should be something that's definitely compelling, but I just watch his acting skills here, and it's just really not that good. He's just very bland. So that's how it is. But basically what happens when Ron tries to kill Carl the first time, that's when all those zombies are broken in, so they had bigger fish to fry. And then when Ron and Carl are downstairs in Jesse's basement, sounds very wrong that I said that, but I don't even care. Carl's trying to like get through to Ron, but Ron's just basically gone nuts, and he tries to attack Carl and murder him, and he causes like the window to break, which allows all the zombies to get in, and he had locked the door to the basement so they can't get out, or the garage. I don't remember what it was, but I don't care. It didn't really look. And Rick, Jesse, and everybody have to like break the door open to get Carl out, and they have to blockade it so the zombies don't get in. And Rick and Jesse are very suspicious about what happened, because they thought they heard them fighting, but obviously then Carl and Ron lie and just say that they just had knocked something over. And then when Carl privately confiscates Ron's gun, and then nothing more happens with it. It was very disappointing. This was something they had really built to, and then nothing happened with it. So again, down. And I could say, well, maybe they're going to save this for the season finale. I think this should have happened here, and that was very disappointing. And then the biggest down was the ending. There really was a very anticlimactic ending. Basically, the ending was Glenn and Eden jumping over the wall to try to save Maggie. That's like up on the thin. Like I said, that's up on like the tower to watch, and she's just trapped up there and helpless. Rick, Gabriel, Ron, Sam, and Jesse try to cover themselves in Walker guts to basically what they did in season 1, episode 2 with Rick and Glenn when they cover themselves in Walker guts to make themselves feel like they're one of them. And then Sam gets scared and talks, and then that's how the episode ends. It was very anticlimactic and just was dumb. I think that's it. I think that's just. I covered everything I needed to cover. This review probably sucked, but I don't really care. I did the review, so like I said, I wasn't putting forth a lot of effort into this because The Walking Dead didn't put forth a lot of effort into this episode, so I didn't. And this episode was very disappointing. They had spent like 7 episodes building to this mid-season finale. I guess you could technically maybe take out the 4th episode with Morgan and Eastman because that really just, but that also tied into this because obviously it kind of showed why Morgan didn't want to kill, and this is what they came up with. It was very disappointing, and I was very ashamed. I think if this had been maybe a normal Walking Dead episode, maybe this wouldn't have been as bad, but the fact that this was supposed to be the mid-season finale was very embarrassing. This might be the worst episode I've seen this show put out. But then again, it's been a while since I've watched it, so. But I mean, even like some of the episodes, like in season 4, after the governor invaded the prison and destroyed it, were better than this. I can think of maybe that episode in season 3 I didn't really like all that much after Lori died. That was even better than this. And yeah, this was just very disappointing. This might be the most disappointing episode in the franchise, or the series, to considering the fact that they had, seasons episodes 1 through 7 was very anticipated, and all these storylines they had set up to build to this, and then none of the storylines were blown off, and the storylines that they focused the most on in this episode weren't very good. So yeah, and then obviously they do stuff like bring Glenn back before. They literally couldn't wait till one more episode. Like, that was ridiculous. So yeah, this episode, if I had to rate it out of 10, is like a 4. I can't even. I was gonna say 4.5, but I can't even give it that much. But it's definitely a 4. This episode just sucks. So I really don't have anything left to say about it. I'm happy I got the video up now versus like 3 weeks later. So yeah, if I missed anything in this episode, that's because I didn't watch it back again because I wasn't doing that. So now I can move on to episode 9, and let's see what episode. So basically, I'm going to give episode 9 a pass. I'm just going to say now because episode 9 kind of has to rebuild the damages that episode 8 did. It's just like Halloween 5 because that was kind of like so bad. Well, not so bad, but it had so many problems with it. Halloween 6 had to kind of rebuild because of the problems with Halloween 5. That's exactly what this has to do. Episode 9 now has to fix the problems that episode 8 had. So let's see if episode 9 will, but it probably won't in the beginning because I have to sit through this crap basically again. So I hope they don't do like a preview showing me what happened because I don't want to see it again. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. I'm not going to do any plugs because I'm not in the mood. So I'm done. Bye.